since we're mentioning forms of protection and dental dams, and since we showed a demonstration of the condom last week and the proper way to put it on, maybe we should also show what these forms of protection look like.
Oh, definitely, yeah. For performing female oral sex on a female, the two that we talked about today so far, the first one is a dental dam, and so this is generally about the size of those that are sold for protection when performing oral sex on a female. This probably goes without saying, but this is definitely not anything to be used for performing sex on males. It's not going to work very well. It's not going to protect you very well. Some interesting things, first of all, if you can feel this, just feel how thin it is. What they're doing on the market today is they are manufacturing them in different colors, different patterns, flavors, and also smells. So this one happens to be banana, and some of them come with a mild lubricant on them. Some of them are a little bit powdered, and the powder can be flavored or not. And then there are standard real dental dams, those that are used in the dental industry. And you can get these at shops, any place that you can buy condoms, you can generally find these. And the other form of protection that we talked about in the question earlier was the female condom. And my hope for this program is that I'm always very, very honest with everybody. And so I'm going to reiterate that while some protection is better than no protection, scientific studies as well as anecdotally asking women, what do you think of these do not get good reviews. Again, use it as opposed to using nothing. But this is the female condom. It has the large outer ring that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and I hope you can see that there's an inner ring. And the way that this is used is the inner ring is folded, it's inserted into the vaginal cavity, and it expands at the top right near the cervix, and that is supposed to hold the condom there. And then this, as I said before, spreads out a little bit on the outside to cover some of the labia. As you can see with this particular brand, that's not going to cover very much of the labia. And so this can be spread out, and as I said, oral sex can be performed on the female where this is in between the person's mouth, the oral to genital contact. Couple of the problems, just to mention real quickly with these, is with regard to heterosexual sex, frequently these have about a 22% failure rate. So over 1 in 5 times they're resulting in pregnancy when that is not what the person wanted. And what happens is the shaft of the penis ends up going up alongside the condom. So it sort of goes in between the condom and the vaginal wall, and the couple doesn't know it in most of the situations. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is they're noisy, and that's what people have complained about. Now some companies are working on this just a little bit, but for now this is our sort of second best thing for performing oral sex and the protection.
Now, you mentioned failure rate, and I think it should be very nice to actually tell what a failure rate is, because a lot of people think when they think of failure rate, they think of one time and then that's it. When really, with I believe most forms of birth control, when they talk about failure rates, it's sex over a period of a year,
Yes,
correct?
That's correct, yeah. So if a couple, for example, with the female condom, if a heterosexual couple was not wishing to become pregnant and they use the female condom and that's their form of birth control over a year's period of time, 1 in 5 of those couples will have an unintended pregnancy. So just to summarize, these are the 2 options that we have available for protection while performing sex on a woman. And I did want to get back to one more thing with the dental dam, and as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I ought to mention this. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but this particular one has been kept in a box that had a lubricated item near it. And again, I'm not really sure if you can see this, but this dental dam is starting to get damaged by the lubrication. So you really need to read the manufacturer's instructions on anything that's being used for protection, because the various forms of latex bring with them cautions against using different types of lubricant. Some of that lubricant could break down the latex barrier.
And I'm assuming natural lubricant isn't one of these.
You mean natural lubricant
in the
produced
female?
by the female
Yes.
body? Sure, definitely. Natural lubricant is not one of those.
Okay.
These are specifically designed for the body's natural lubrication. In fact, arguably everything that's used to protect against STIs keeps in mind the pH balance of the natural lubricant that's produced by the male or female body.
Every so often, I'm having fantasies about other guys. Am I gay?
I get this question very, very frequently. Whenever I'm teaching, whenever I'm lecturing, and I most often get it from men, but I've gotten this question from women as well. the answer is no. One behavior does not make you gay. One thought does not make you gay. Homosexuality is a pattern of desires, a pattern of behaviors. And beyond that, I did want to say that the widest scale study looking at the fantasies of heterosexual men and heterosexual women suggests that the fourth most common fantasy for heterosexual men is same-sex interaction. And the fifth most common fantasy for heterosexual women is same-sex interaction. These people are not homosexual, they're heterosexuals. But one of the things that I want to say right now is that I hope in some future episodes we'll talk a little bit more about sexual orientation, because I want to answer this question in the spirit in which the writer intended, but I also want to leave off by saying this is something we need to discuss later, in that gay does not happen to you. You are gay if you're gay, and you're not if you're not. And it's a pattern of behaviors and preferences and desires. It's not one thing that happens, and it's certainly not a fantasy. And again, fourth most common and fifth most common, respectively, in men and women, heterosexual men and women.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of Talk Sex with Dr. S. I'd like to thank all of you for writing in your emails and encourage you to continue writing in emails to us.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Jonathan for thinking up the ideas behind the programs, and also for being here every week. I think this is really great, and I appreciate it.